Today we're in Esther 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And Esther is not in chronological order as the way you read it through the Bible. It's a little bit, we back up a little bit from where we were in Nehemiah. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time Jews are referred to as by name. They've been referred to up to this point as Hebrew, the people of Abraham, the Israelites. Not all exiles went back when Zerubbabel took them back around 1538. There were 50,000 that went back then, but not all of them did. Some of them were happy where they were, or they had been born there in exile. And this is Esther's case. This is like a subset, a storyline of a good Netflix movie where they jump from one storyline to the next. So here we are in Esther. It's around 480 BC, somewhere in that vicinity. We got a lot to get to. I know I try to keep it under 5 minutes. I'll do my best. One starts at Susa, the capital of the Medo-Persia Empire. We see King Xerxes is the king at the time. Remember, it goes Cyrus. He let all the people go out of Babylon. Not all of them went, but most of them went at that time, 50,000. Then you have Darius, Xerxes, who we're working with here, and then Artaxerxes, which was Nehemiah's time. So we're backing up just a little bit. Xerxes throws a party, throws a banquet for 180 days to show off his wealth and power. He invites all the providence from around to come in. Then that's not enough. He has another banquet for 7 days for everybody. And Queen Vashti, his queen at the time, is having a banquet for the women at the palace. Well, during that banquet, the 7-day banquet, he's showing off his wealth now. He's had a little wine. He wants to show off his woman. So the 7th day, he asked Queen Vashti to come join. So he wants to show off her beauty. And she won't show up. In verse 16, the advisors say, Queen Vashti has wronged not only the king, but also the nobles and every citizen throughout the entire empire. So we got to deal with this. They were afraid that all the women of the land would rebel and treat their husbands a certain way. So they got scared like men do. And Queen Vashti was banished from King Xerxes' presence. 2, we see King Artaxerxes' attendants suggests, let us search the whole empire to find beautiful young virgins. The one that is the most pleasing will become and be made queen. Mordecai comes on the scene here. Now he's in exile. He's a Jew. He's cared for his younger cousin Esther since she was young. He's adopted her as his own daughter and treated her as well. Esther is chosen to be part of that group, brought into the king's harem, which is just a separate place of the palace for the women. She didn't tell anyone her background, that she was a Jew. That was Mordecai's instructions to her. She was given 12 months of beauty treatment. How's that, ladies? Then she was able to pick her clothes and her jewels before she went before the king. When it was her turn, she took all the recommendations of her attendant at the time, and she was brought before the king. In verse 17 it says, the king loved Esther more than any other young woman. He set the royal crown on her head and declared her queen. He has another banquet because they like to party. Mordecai becomes palace official, and still their nationality is being hidden. Mordecai overhears a plot to assassinate the king, tells Esther, and she tells the king, and it was found to be true. Those men were executed. 3, a guy named Haman comes on the scene. He's a bad dude, but he's promoted above all the other nobles, second only to the king. Everyone's to bow to him, but Mordecai won't do it because he bows only to the Lord. Haman found out that Mordecai was a Jew. Haman talked Xerxes into killing all the Jews in all the province. He says they live separate, they have separate laws. King Xerxes gives Haman carte blanche against this, allowing him to carry it out however he sees fit. Verse 13 it says he sends out a decree to kill young, old, including women and the children. They all must be killed. Before Mordecai finds out about the decree that Haman had written throughout the whole entire land, tears his clothes, put on his clothes of mourning, his burlap, but he couldn't go into the palace. He heads towards the palace, but couldn't go in because he's in his clothes of mourning. He gives a copy of the decree to Esther's attendants, and they go back and forth. I can't do it unless I'm called, and I haven't been called to the king's presence in 30 days. And I'll just read verse 14 directly. It says, "If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arrive from some other place, but you, your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were not made queen for such a time as this." Tells Mordecai finally that she'll do it, and she asks for him to gather all the Jews in Susa to fast for 3 days and for 3 nights. In chapter 5, Esther put on a royal robe. She approaches the king, and she's not supposed to do that unless she's called upon, remember. He reaches out his golden scepter, which allows her permission to approach. These are ancient time, ladies. Don't get upset. "What do you want?" he says. And she invites him, King Xerxes, and Haman to a banquet. And at that time, King Xerxes says, "Now, what do you really want? I'll give anything you want, anything you desire, up to half of my kingdom." And so she says, "Well, you and Haman come tomorrow to another banquet." So Haman, he's happy and he leaves, but he sees Mordecai on the way out of the palace. And he's upset. Mordecai is not trembling. He won't bow to him. He goes home and he brags to his wife and his kids about his wealth and his power, and also about this invitation from Queen Esther. But at the end of it, he's not satisfied. He's got everything in the world, but this Mordecai guy won't bow down to me. He won't give me any respect. And his wife says, "Set up a pole 75 feet tall and impale him. Get permission from King Xerxes tomorrow, and then go enjoy your banquet." Not to get into today in Esther. What a beautiful book of the Bible. Read it. There's lots of details that I left out. I wanted to keep this under 5 minutes. I did my best. God bless you guys. Like, subscribe, and share if this has been a blessing to you.